It is mailbag time here in just a moment here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. But first, want to remind you guys to subscribe and join us because on Thursday night, we are going to be live for the entire 2022 NBA Draft. It's here. Draft week is upon us. Myself, Harrison Graham, Chase Sr. as well. We will anchor your coverage here on Chat Sports, both on YouTube and on Rumble. We'll have live coverage of every single pick, every trade that happens. We'll have some fun as well. Mark your calendars. Join us on Thursday night. Draft starts at 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll probably go live at 6 o'clock Eastern. All right, let's get into this mailbag now. Submit your questions by using hashtag NBA or by super chatting, and we will get to as many of them as we possibly can. To Allure used hashtag NBA. Do you think the Warriors need to sign Otto Porter and Nemanja Bjelica to replace Iggy after this season? Do you think the Warriors need James Wiseman to be healthy for the whole entire game? Well, Chua, I think number one, Porter was kind of already ahead of Iguodala, so I think that one kind of answers it. If you lose Porter, obviously you're losing probably two wings because Iggy's probably not going to be back. Nemanja Bjelica, I'd like to bring him back as a vet minimum guy who could get some more run next year, especially if a guy like Iggy is gone. Now, Wiseman's the big wild card. Is he going to be back? Is he a part of their plans? Could the Warriors trade him? I think that's a big question, especially with Kevon Looney also set to be a free agent. I'll be fascinated to see how that all plays out. Magic Mitch, did Marcus Smart prove enough this year to be the Celtics' answer at point guard, or should Boston trade him and upgrade at that spot? You know, when the Celtics gave Marcus Smart that deal, and I'm struggling remembering how much it was, I think it was like $17, $18 million per year, I was like, ugh, feels like an overpay for a scrappy defensive player. But I actually thought he made good progress as a true point guard this year for the Boston Celtics. Obviously, he had a hell of a year defensively. He was NBA Defensive Player of the Year, and we know he's that guy. He's the heart and soul of this team and makes it happen on that end. But you look at the numbers, too. I thought as a floor general, he improved, and now he's never going to be a guy that you're expecting 8-9 assists a game from. But 5.9, that was a career high. I thought he made better decisions. I go back to that very first playoff game against the Nets where he found a cutting Jason Tatum for the game-winning layup at the buzzer. They go on to sweep that series, and I think that play was huge for Smart individually and for this team moving forward, not just during this playoff run, which was fantastic, led to the NBA Finals, but also long-term as well. Still a young enough player to continue to improve. I think I'm keeping Marcus Smart if I am Boston. What do you guys think, though? Should Boston trade him? What do you guys think they should do with Marcus Smart? Type K for keep, type T for trade. If I'm the Celtics, I'm probably hanging on to Marcus Smart. Next question here, Twisted Sun Rise Kai, okay. LeBron will jump ship and sign with Milwaukee in a sign-in trade. Dude, LeBron ain't moving to Milwaukee. I'll tell you that right now. Now, obviously, he wouldn't have to move there. His base could be in L.A. still, and he could just get a condo or whatever. But he ain't playing for the Bucks. Come on. There's just no way that LeBron James is leaving L.A. to go to the Bucks. Now, if he wants out of L.A., that could happen. I just don't think Milwaukee's the team he would go to. He would still go to a big market. The only small market that there's any chance he would go to is if he felt some sentimental reason to go back to Cleveland. The only way LeBron ever plays for the Bucks is if they draft his son, Bronny. That's the only way it ever happens. Rogue Brothers, I know Chet is more likely going too, but what if OKC selects Banchero? Look, it's possible. I mean, anything can happen on draft night. It's just the big momentum right now is Jabari Smith number 1, Chet Holmgren 2. That's how it feels. That's how it's trending right now. A lot of things can change between now and the draft, but that's how this thing seems to be heading. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days, but that's where we sit right now. Rashard Lee, a sign and trade Jalen Brunson and picks for Bradley Beal. I mean, look, Bradley Beal's a better player than Jalen Brunson. I wouldn't dispute that. Maybe Jalen Brunson, Dwight Powell, 2 future firsts for Bradley Beal. Do the Wizards do that? I guess maybe they would consider that. I mean, possibly. I don't think it's super likely, Rashard, but hey, Bradley Beal with Luka would be a lot of fun. It really would. Now, the defense would take a hit. Not that Brunson's a great defender, but Beal doesn't defend at all. So I think you got to keep that in mind as well. Sammy Sprinkler. If Kyrie leaves Brooklyn, should Kevin Durant request a trade? I think this is a really good question, Sammy. If I'm Kevin Durant, I'm considering all options right now. If I see that report from Shams and I'm blindsided, or if even Kyrie has come to me and been like, hey, man, talks with the Nets aren't going great. It's possible I'm not here next year. If I'm Durant, I got to consider everything. I mean, it's just Ben Simmons, who hasn't played at all in over a year, enough of a reason to stay in Brooklyn? I don't know. I mean, Durant is still one of the top 3 or 4 players in the NBA. Had another huge year last year, averaging 29.9 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists as well. Shot it well from 3, over 51% from the floor also. Kevin Durant is an absolute superstar still. Maybe as good as he's ever been, especially offensively. Here's the reality, though. He's 34 next year. This was his 33 age season. I'm not saying clock's ticking, but it's ticking a little bit. I mean, he's not going to play like this forever. Now, we just saw Steph Curry win Finals MVP at 34. I'm not discounting Durant doing something like that next season, but if Kyrie's gone, or even if he's there, I mean, is that the wagon you want to hitch to? I mean, I don't know, man. I got to wonder if Durant is regretting some of his decisions, not necessarily by leaving Golden State, but by having Kyrie be his main swingman. Should Kevin Durant request a trade, especially if Kyrie's gone? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I think you got to consider everything if you are the Durantula. Let me know in the comments, should KD request a trade? Maybe a trade will happen during the NBA draft. At least some trades will. We promise you that. And we promise to cover it for you guys here on this channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Join me and Chase Sr. and our entire production team for the 2022 NBA draft live on Thursday. Not just round 1 coverage as well. We'll have full coverage, second round picks also. This Thursday, June 23rd, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Next up is Aladdin the Magic. Kyrie to the Raptors. They will be a good team. That's intriguing, but I just look at Toronto, and that's a team that always has good chemistry. They're hard-nosed. They play for one another, and Kyrie's not really known for doing any of that. Do I think he would be a good fit there? Yeah, I think stylistically he would fit good with a lot of teams, but you have to have the right blend. I think you want to put him with more vets, guys that can rein him in a little bit more. Who's going to put him in his place in Toronto? I mean, is it going to be their head coach? Nick Nurse, is he going to do that? I don't know, man. If I'm the Raptors, I would probably not go that route. Jay Fish, when is NBA free agency? So here are some dates to keep in mind. Thursday night this week, June 23rd, NBA draft. Next Thursday, June 30th, start of NBA free agency. We'll be live for both. Subscribe to the channel right now. Rainier Albert Lozada, Kyrie to Indiana. Dude, A, he ain't doing that. And B, I don't think Rick Carlisle wants Kyrie Irving. They're rebuilding there. They're going in a new direction. They also have Tyrese Halliburton, who they traded for last year as their long-term point guard. I don't think Kyrie's the guy in Indiana. The Atlanta analysts, my Hawks seem to be getting active. Which trade is most realistic? Kind of feels like John Collins. Obviously, they're going to keep Trae Young. They want to build around him. It sounds like Trae really likes Clint Capella, so even though there's been trade buzz around him, I think if they're going to trade one of their bigs, Collins is more likely. I could see Bogdanovich getting traded, maybe Kevin Huerter, so we'll see. I think Atlanta's a team to keep an eye on between now and draft night and before free agency. Aladdin the Magic. Kai Sotto needs to be a Raptor. Listen, Kai Sotto to Toronto, one of the best developmental franchises in all of the NBA. I could see that working. If someone's going to develop him into being a big-time talent, maybe Toronto makes sense. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the juice. Levante Rogers. Should the Bulls be inclined to keep Patrick Williams if it means them missing out on a star? I like Patrick Williams. If I'm moving him, I better be getting like a high-level star, not like a Rudy Gobert from Utah, which I've seen like Gobert, like Williams and a first for Gobert. I don't want to do that. Like if I'm getting a superstar, like I better get like, I don't know, like a Bradley Beal or someone like that, someone who could score 30 points a game if I'm trading Patrick Williams. So I would not go that route. We'll see what happens though. Joseph Benoit or Benoit, let me know. What do you see the Pelicans doing with the 8th pick? Keep in draft or trade down or just trade for a win-now move? I think probably keep in draft. Maybe you could use that pick to trade for another piece, but I think they're not mostly set, but like you get Zion back. That team really played well down the stretch. If Zion gets back and healthy and plays at a high level, you don't have a ton of glaring needs if you are the Pelicans. Maybe you could use another shooter on the perimeter, another rebounder. We'll see if Valanciunas is there long term, but I don't think you need a ton if you are New Orleans. The Ronin 99, number 9, Jaden Ivey to the Pistons. Maybe. I like Jaden Ivey a lot. He's been mocked to pick 4, pick 5 quite a bit. So I definitely think it's a possibility. The Ronin, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Rainier Albert, Kyrie and Ben Simmons to the Lakers for AD. Well, the money doesn't add up. You'd have to get another piece to Brooklyn. You'd probably have to do for AD and Westbrook. And, I mean, is Kevin Durant going to take Westbrook back in Brooklyn? Probably not. But, hey, it's a blockbuster trade idea, and we love those here at Chat Sports. Boss Beast, will the Clippers sign Kyrie? Gosh. They've been linked to him, according to Shams Charania. I would not go that route if I was the Clippers. That's just me. I would not go that route, but anything's possible. We'll have to wait and see. Alec G, any chance KD comes back to OKC to finish his career when they're back to being in contention? Anything's possible. I mean, we saw LeBron go back to Cleveland, and we never thought that would happen. This seems less likely just because Durant's older at this point than LeBron was when he went back to Cleveland, but I wouldn't rule it out. Things change in sports pretty quickly, and I think OKC would welcome him back. Rashard Lee, got time for a couple more here. If Kyrie leaves Brooklyn, could KD come to Dallas? I mean, Rashard, I love KD in Dallas. I think he's soft, but you know what? If you could get a guy like that here with Luka Doncic, don't get me wrong, I would absolutely take it if that were the case. So we'll see what happens. Again, if Kyrie does leave, I think anything should be on the table for Durant. He can't be wasting years at this point, and you could argue he's wasted the last 3. Kev has a question. Should the Knicks trade the number 11 pick in the draft to use as a trade chip? Possibly. I think any of these teams in the top 10 or 15 could trade their picks to try and get a veteran. This draft's a bit of a crapshoot, especially after you get outside the top few picks. At the same time, the Knicks are trending young. Add another young piece to the nucleus. I could certainly understand that route, but maybe you trade Julius Randle in that pick for something else. Could be a possibility. Be interested to see what Leon Rose does. Leon Rose will have some decisions made. I would lean toward keeping it overall if I was New York, but obviously it depends on who you're trading for. Like, say Donovan Mitchell is available. Julius Randle, number 11 pick, and maybe another future first for D. Mitch. I'd probably do that if I was the Knicks. That's something I would heavily consider. Similar trade for Bradley Beal if you're available, or a Damian Lillard type, a type of player that could come in there and elevate the Garden's energy. I think that's something to consider. Now, name a player that your favorite team should go out and trade for, whether you're a Knicks fan, a fan of a different team. Who do you want your team to trade for? Let me know down in the comments.